Welcome to another weekly Forex forecast, traders. Starting off with the US dollar index first. As you know, the last couple weeks have been nothing but green on the DXY as we reacted off of this clear area of support down below, and we are pushing up, looking strong. We will point out the supply in the daily chart here, and I just want to say we could easily push up and continue to see strength in the dollar, even all the way up to weekly supply. That's all the way up here at 110. It's definitely possible. Do I think we're going to shoot straight up in a straight line? Absolutely not. I think if we do go up there, if that's where the banks and the higher players want to push price, it's probably going to take them some time. But I'm just saying there is a lot of profit margin on the DXY. If we look over here on a daily chart, you guys know if you watched last week's forecast, I did actually point out this daily supply zone here, and it was removed. We hesitated, removed it, pierced right above it, and then we had a red day, and then followed by a green Friday on the DXY. So clearly we were hesitating here. Doesn't mean anything. We've hesitated a few times in this overall momentum to the upside. And the next stop, if we do continue to go up, is the daily supply that's above. I actually point out this supply as well. This supply zone for back here in the daily chart removed a proven area of demand. So we had basically a demand zone here, broke supply, came in, tested the zone, got a nice rally out of it, and then we ended up breaking it with this supply zone. So at 104.86, it is a decent drop-based drop supply zone. It is not tested. It is fresh, as we didn't hit it right there. And I think we will probably get a reaction off of it. In my opinion, as far as what it accomplished by removing this demand, it is better than this supply up here. So this supply is better than this one. I think that's why this one was removed. So I think we still have a lot of upside on the dollar to that daily area of supply at 104.86, and I think we'll probably react to the downside. Now, obviously, if the banks plan on pushing price up to that weekly supply zone, then we will break through that daily supply. So if we do break this supply, if we take it out, something like that, then at that point, we have to pretty much go with, hey, I think the dollar is going to continue to get strong, and we will be pushing up to that weekly area of supply. And why do I say that? Well, because once this supply zone is removed, if you look here, there's absolutely nothing for any quality supply until that weekly supply, like I said, all the way up at the 110 area at this high from back here. So that is why I'll be monitoring that daily supply zone. There is still profit margin to the upside. As far as the 4-hour time frame here goes, we still have a nice trend to the upside. Yes, we did hesitate here, and we got a nice little drop, but this is a move like this is healthy in an overall uptrend, right? We have this several times as price pushes up. It's more of just the ebb and flow of the trend. Now, I will say it is possible that we do get a pullback down to this 4-hour demand at 103.67 and then rally up, right? Not seeing any evidence of that yet, but if we do break this low, I think that is where we will be headed. And honestly, it is a good little demand zone there that I think we definitely could react off of to the upside. I'm actually going to tighten up the zone a little bit as I zoom in. It looks a little bit different, but anyways, that is the demand zone. I just want to say it is possible we pull back down that 4-hour demand and then rally up. If, let's say, we push down this demand zone and it breaks, okay, at that point, we have to say, hey, maybe we got to hold off on longs. But until we can get a downward trend on the 4-hour time frame, I'm not going to be that bearish on the US dollar. So it's a tricky one. I think we will continue to push up. I'm not really seeing any evidence of it so far. And even if we do pull back in the dollar, as long as that demand zone's holding, I think we are probably pulling up to the 104.86 area, like I said, on the daily supply. And if it gets removed, then we are most likely headed up to weekly demand at 110. On to the forecast for the Euro US dollar. Make sure to hit that like button and subscribe if you are new to the channel. And as far as the daily chart goes here on the Euro, obviously just pushing down, obviously just the opposite of the dollar. We have the daily buying area down here. It's not quite demand as far as my chain analysis goes of zones or move zones, but it is a demand area we could see a move off of for sure. So how do we go about and trade this Euro chart? Well, we will start on the 1-hour time frame. We had decent momentum going up. We broke not only one but two downward trend lines, and recently a demand zone here was removed. That created this 1-hour supply at 1.08. If you want to get aggressive with a short entry, that would be our setup here at this rally base drop area of supply. It is definitely half decent supply in my opinion. Not amazing, but it is decent. And what we could also see is actually a break of this supply zone. And why? Well, because right above this supply zone, if you look at the 4-hour chart, there is an even better 4-hour area of supply above at 1.0846. And it's kind of a support resistance trap area. So we could see a break above that 1-hour supply. So if you want to be a little bit more cautious, this would be our better area of supply in the 4-hour chart right up there. definitely could see a move off of that 4-hour supply zone. And just like I said on the dollar, if we start to break the demand zones, well, it's just the opposite on the euro here. If we start to break these supply zones, then okay, then we have to say, hey, maybe the euro is going to go up. If we create the 4-hour uptrend, okay, maybe we got to get in long, right? So until then, watch the 4-hour supply zones, the 1-hour supply zones. They're all pretty good for shorts. And then, you know, if we start to see a positive reaction off the daily demand, then we have to be a little bit cautious and maybe look to take profits on some of our shorts. And if you look here on the 4-hour time frame, we have a nice 4-hour downward trend indicated by my downward arrow. So at any time, you could be looking for 15-minute time frame shorts. And you could also be looking for day trading confirmation in these supply zones if you don't feel comfortable with just a short with a stop loss above. But it is shorts all the way on the euro until we can start to break these significant areas of supply in the 4-hour and the 1-hour time frame. On to the forecast for gold. Gold absolutely killing it here as we push to all-time highs. The issue with the higher time frames is there's no real demand on the weekly time frame until all the way down at the 22-24. So if we really start to see a significant pullback in gold, we could really pull back really deep, and that's fine. But I just wanted to kind of point that out as more of a swing trading perspective. Even on the daily time frame, there's really not, you know, a whole lot going on here as far as daily demand zones go. I don't really like this trend line. I'm actually not even going to draw it. Actually, as I draw it, it didn't really make much sense to me, but it's looking strong. But again, there's not even a daily zone until down here at 25.87. So even if you do get a deep pullback, that's fine. I like I like that daily demand zone for a potential pullback. It's really clear what's taking place here on the 4-hour time frame. We clearly are just going sideways at this time. We had a rally-based rally demand zone that was proven, and that was broken by this 4-hour supply zone. That is proven supply, as we have already reacted off of it. And clearly this move was short-lived. Why? Well, because this supply zone, I did point it out to the members, but I said be careful. It is counter trend to the weekly uptrend and the daily uptrend. This was a very counter trend 4-hour supply zone setup. That is why I think the move, it was strong at first, but we are going back in for a second test now. Could it still hold? Sure. The zone is barely tested. When a zone is barely tested like that, it's often we will see, you know, a multiple reaction off of it to the downside. But honestly, there's two options here in gold, and both involve getting in long, right? We want to trade along with the daily trend. If we can break this demand zone down here, give us a nice 4-hour downward trend, okay, then if that happens next week, then guess what I'm going to say in next week's Forex forecast? I'm going to say, look, it's shorts on gold on day trading timeframes. But at this time, yes, we are going sideways here. It's not great, but we could be looking for longs at any time because of the higher time frame trends. If you want to play it more conservatively, we have two options here on the 4-hour time frame. If we break this 4-hour supply, let's say we push up from here, boom, nice push up. Any demand zone there, we could definitely look for a long trade off of, as it not only broke supply, but an all-time high. So that is one option to look for on gold. Now, the other option is, let's say price pushes down to this demand zone down here at 26.97. I think it's a great area to get a potential pullback entry for sure there on gold. And it is kind of some sort of support resistance trap area here as well. Clear support area with real demand down below. So we definitely could see a move off that 4-hour zone right there. These are the two conservative options. The more aggressive options are identifying, hey, we still have a 4-hour uptrend, 1-hour uptrend, daily uptrend, weekly uptrend. I'm just going to get in long, and that's fine. I personally, as a conservative trader and a swing trader, I would like to see this 4-hour supply zone remove or pull back down to this 4-hour demand. Now, if you really think we're going to pull back, okay, you could be looking for day trading shorts on a 15-minute time frame inside of this 4-hour supply zone. But remember, I would definitely risk less, and it's not even something I would personally do. I'm just saying it is a clean area of supply with a nice move away, so it could be used as a potential pullback zone to pull back down to the 26.97 area. But for me personally, I'm waiting for that zone to be removed or for the pullback down to the 4-hour demand zone there on gold. Alrighty, on to the forecast for the USDJPY, the Japanese yen. We did recently break this daily supply. It took a little bit as we kind of staggered through the zone. There is a new daily supply that's in control at 152.70. We are currently reacting off of it to the downside at this time. Do I think this zone will hold? Maybe, maybe not. It depends on what happens on the dollar. But this is a supply zone we need to get through if, in fact, we are going to push up to this weekly supply zone at 156.07. So there is still profit margin up to this weekly supply where we can then get a move to the downside off of that zone. So keep an eye on that daily supply zone there. It is a little bit tricky price action at this time. How do we go about and trade this pair right now? Well, we do have a 4-hour supply that is in control. As you can see, it's a 4-hour supply inside the daily supply, pretty much just a daily supply. If we break this daily supply and there's a 4-hour demand zone there, that would be our demand zone that we could trade with the clear profit margin up to that weekly supply that I pointed out. So I wouldn't really be looking for longs until we can get this zone removed. And with the zone that removes that, I will have on my charts for the members. If you want to trade alongside myself and the community, join the Diamond membership for exclusive access to our daily market breakdown videos and catch trades like these. Plus, dive deep with our full-length forecast covering 26 plus markets, our interactive Sunday Zoom sessions, and personal homework to sharpen your strategy. And you'll also join our private Discord group for direct access to me and unlock a complete library of A to Z video lessons to master supply and demand trading. Don't miss out. Let's level up your trading. Links in the description down below. So keep an eye on this 4-hour zone. If it can get removed, that would be a bullish sign. That's really about it that I'm seeing on the end right now. It's really not my favorite one to be trading. That's why we need to wait for some supply zones to be taken out and the daily supply to be taken out to kind of get a better idea of what's going to happen here. And this is definitely one where we're going to have to monitor the DXY as well. Like if we hesitate around this daily supply, we hit the daily supply on the DXY and start to react to the downside, then shorts might be an option here in the end. But until then, we got to be a little bit more patient, wait for more clear price action. Even on the 1-hour time frame here, we had a nice trend and the trend was actually ruined here. So if let's say the supply holds and we break down the downside right here, we will have a 1-hour downtrend. Then at that time, okay, then we can start to day trade short a 5-minute time frame. But until then, we have to basically wait for that to take place. So this could be something else you monitor to see if this low can be removed. And at that point, we'll have a downtrend, and like I said, the shorts will be fine. But until then, guys, patience is going to pay off here on the USDJPY. All right, on the forecast for the GBPUSD. Last week, we were basically sitting in the middle between supply and demand. And the big question is, where are we going? And I was saying we were probably going to go down based on the trends, and we are seeing that still. Now, we have the daily demand zone down below, so that is a clear profit margin. But more importantly, on the weekly time frame, if we go to that in a second here, we have that weekly demand zone down below. This will be a great, fantastic opportunity to get a swing trade off of this zone, especially if we can get some sort of confirmation on a 4-hour or a 1-hour time frame. So if we do push down into here the next week, the next couple weeks, basically for the rest of the year, we could be hesitating around this zone, and I'll be looking for longs in the pound off of this weekly area of demand. But in the meantime, you could, with clear profit margin, you could still be day trading short a 15-minute time frame. We have a nice 4-hour downward trend line right here, very clear downward trend line. And as long as this trend line is respecting, we could be looking for shorts on a 15-minute time frame. It's really pretty much that clear in my opinion. So it is shorts all the way, as long as this downward trend line is holding. However, if you are bullish and if you don't think we're going to pull back down that daily zone, which is definitely a little bit risky, I won't lie to you guys. We do have a pretty decent little 1-hour demand zone down below. We could maybe see a small move off the zone and then eventually end up breaking it, in my opinion. So at 1.293, it is a little 1-hour demand zone there. We have to definitely be mindful of this zone, as it is not bad, right? It removed not only a downward trend line, but also a decent area of supply as well. So if it is a zone, maybe we only get a small move, something like this, a little 1-to-1. So if you do get long in the zone, maybe look to take profit a little bit early. And if we break it, any supplies on the 1-hour chart, I'll have for the members as well. And we can look to short there as we potentially trade down to that weekly daily area of demand on the GBPUSD. On the forecast for the USDCAD, my home country, let me know where you guys are from in the comments down below. We did break we are close to breaking this daily supply zone. Not quite yet. It is so tested. We pierced above it before. I'm not going to call that removed. I'm not going to explain why, but yeah, it's pretty much non-existent in my opinion at this time. So how can we be trading this chart? Well, on the 1-hour time frame, we have a beautiful 1-hour trend to the upside. I'm actually going to adjust this trend line here. So we have a beautiful 1-hour trend line. So what that means is, as long as this 1-hour trend line is holding, you could be looking for 5-minute time frame longs. I'll be clear on that. Hopefully that is clear. It's as clear as it can be. So nice little 1-hour trend. That's good. We also have a 4-hour upward trend as well. So day trading longs on a 15-minute time frame could also be good. And on the 4-hour chart, I just drew this 4-hour demand zone for you guys at 1.38. It's a very clean zone, clean basing, nice move off of it. So if we do get a pullback down this 4-hour zone, that would be our nearest pullback entry at 1.38. If you don't feel comfortable, like I always say, with an entry, stop and take profit above, that's fine. You could wait for the zone to be hit, go down to a 15-minute or a 5-minute time frame and look for confirmation. And what that means really quick is once the zone is hit, go to a 15-minute or 5-minute chart, look for demand zones to start to be formed, and then get long there. And then what you could do is basically, instead of your risk reward, let's just say look something like this. That's 3-to-1 up here. 3-to-1, not bad. But if you can really, maximize your risk reward, that 3-to-1 turns into an 8-to-1, right? So that's the benefit of confirmation, but as well, you might not get the confirmation, price might take off. But it is a good demand zone. It's longs all the way here, definitely on day trading timeframes, pullbacks to that 4-hour demand zone, definitely looking good. And even if we do get a deeper pullback below that 4-hour demand zone, we have a clear support trap with a demand zone down below at 1.383. Little rally demand, we could definitely see a move off of the zone down below. So it is longs all the way. The day trading time frames, pullbacks, the 4-hour, 1-hour zones, looking really good here on the USDCAD. Let me know your thoughts about the USDCAD in the comments down below. Alrighty, on to the forecast for the AUDUSD, the Aussie US dollar. We are back into this daily demand zone. If you go back and you watch the forecast from mid-September, we called out this demand zone. Beautiful trade from that area. And now we are back into it. And we obviously broke the low here. That was expected. And it looks like we are about to break it as well. We are, I would say, 50% of the way into the zone. So it is looking weak. However, we have to keep in mind, if we do get in short, you might want to be a little bit aggressive on taking profit. Doesn't mean we can't short, and we actually caught a beautiful 1-hour supply zone short right here from the daily market breakdown video right there. Over 5-to-1 achieved. That was from the daily market breakdown video. Beautiful setup from that area of supply. And the downward trend continued. We had a demand zone here, maybe a quick little long entry 1-to-1. Counter trend, so it's not really the best zone, and we actually broke this demand zone here. We created a new downward trend line, and not only that, a nice 1-hour supply at 0.663. So if we do get a pullback up to this 1-hour supply, it is good for shorts to hopefully catch a trade like we did up here. So it's definitely shorts all the way on that 1-hour time frame for sure, and shorts as long as this downward trend line is holding. Like, so if we don't even get a pullback up to that zone and we just react to the trend line, there's a nice little 5-minute supply zone here. 5-minute time frame shorts are going to be fine due to this 1-hour downward trend line. Now, since that daily zone is in control, it technically means we could be looking for a confirmation trade long, but that daily demand zone's tested, so it's not high odds. That's why this 1-hour demand zone here was confirmation, but it actually would have been smart to look for profit at a 1-to-1 or a 2-to-1 max based on that daily demand zone being tested. But let's say we do something like this where we blast through the supply, blast through the downward trend line. Any demand zone here in the 1-hour chart could be used as a confirmation trade. Am I suggesting to look for that much profit? Maybe not. It's probably best to just look for a quick one based on, like I said, the daily demand zone is very tested, so it is making me a little bit nervous. So really all the trading is going to revolve around this 1-hour downward trend line and this supply. If it holds, it's a good supply zone to short. If it breaks, okay, then at that point we have to kind of change our buys and say, hey, maybe this daily demand zone is actually going to hold, and we're going to continue to push up. So definitely monitor that 1-hour downward trend line there on the Aussie US dollar, and even on the 4-hour time frame, there's a 4-hour downward trend that you could also be paying attention to as well. But in the meantime, it is looking like shorts all the way with beautiful trends to the downside. Even on a 15-minute time frame, I think shorts are going to be fine as well on the AUDUSD. Alrighty, on to the forecast for the USDCHF, the Swiss franc. Pretty bullish the last couple weeks here, and we could be pulling up to this weekly area of supply up here at 0.88. Definitely a good area of supply that we could definitely react off of to the downside. So clear profit margin up to that zone. On the 1-hour chart though, look at how bad this price action is. Even this sequence here didn't really want to be trading in that sideways action, and then we have new sideways action as we are just literally ping-ponging between demand and supply. Boom, 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 boom. We want to break out of that range, really. And until we can, I really don't like trading at this time. I don't want to be trading in the sideways action. even if the zone was tested or wasn't tested, it wouldn't even be that great anyways. So basically just waiting for a high to be removed or a low to be removed to decide which direction to trade in. On the 1 hour time frame, I'm going to get rid of that arrow as it's just way too sideways. Technically, yes, the overall trend is up, but honestly, I'm not even seeing a demand zone until all the way down at the 0.859 area. So if we do get a pullback down this rally-based rally demand, it's definitely not bad. We could definitely see move out this zone. So this would be our nearest pullback entry to the long side to continue to trade up to that weekly supply potentially. So the banks might be saying, hey, we want to push up to the weekly supply. We want to hit the 0.88 area, or I'm not even saying they're saying that. I'm just saying they could be wanting to push price a little bit higher. And in order for that to happen, they might actually have to push price down to this 4 hour demand zone, fill in their leftover buy orders down here that were not filled, that broke that supply, and that will be our nearest pullback entry zone. That's really the only zone I'm seeing at this time. Going back to the 1 hour chart, if we push up here, break the supply, break the high, if there's a 1 hour zone here, okay, then we can look for longs there, and that'll be on my chart throughout the week if we do get that zone break. But for now, I'm not seeing anything until that 4 hour demand zone here on the USDCHF. All right, onto the forecast for crude oil. Remember, weekly downward trend line is still holding, so we have a weekly downward trend. So bears are in control technically. However, on the 1 hour time frame here, we got a beautiful setup from this demand zone here. Clear support resistance trap, just a picture perfect setup down low. We did not break this high yet though, so that is definitely concerning, but to me, it looks like the bulls are picking up. So that would have been a demand zone trade off of that zone. And there is a 4 hour supply above at 74.03. That is where I think we are most likely headed, and I think it's a good zone to potentially look for a short trade off of. Why? Because the weekly trend is down. So this 4 hour base drop area supply is a supply zone trend with the overall higher time frame trend. So we could be pulling back up to the 4 hour supply and then react to the downside, and I think profit margin will be at least to 68.30. And then from there, if we do pull back down in that zone, then we could switch to potential longs, as we could be seeing the overall trend on oil start to change. So really could be playing both supply and demand on oil, but the demand zone trade might be a quicker trade where the 4 hour supply could turn into a massive trade. Why? Again, because the weekly trend is down. So have both of these zones on your chart on the 4 hour time frame. I think they're both good. And if anybody got in long at this 1 hour demand zone, you could definitely hold at least 25% of your position up to at least 74.03. It was a counter trend trade, but it worked out beautifully. It was as good as it's going to get. And at this time, I think we are most likely headed up to the 4 hour supply zone. And like I said, lots of profit margin to the downside to 68.30. We can then switch to a potential long trade here on crude oil. And if you guys want to watch the full length forecast with all the other markets, make sure to subscribe to the channel membership to get access.